This week, a FIFA Football special from Guyana as the men's national team attempt to qualify for a major tournament for the first time. We meet the key figures who are working throughout the country to further the developments of the beautiful game in this part of South America. And we follow the men who hold the nation's fate in their hands as the players prepare for the biggest game in the history of Guyanese football. Last month, the Guyana national team stood on the brink of something unique. With the senior men's team having never appeared at a major international tournament, the current generation of the Golden Jaguars had a chance to write history by qualifying for the 2019 CONCACAF Gold Cup. Despite being part of the South American mainland, Guyana is a member of the Caribbean Football Union and competes in the CONCACAF region of FIFA. Qualification for the Gold Cup would validate the progress being made throughout the country by football.
My name is Wayne Ford, and I'm the president of the Guyana Football Federation. First of all, I feel so honored to be in this position. I mean, it took a lot of work and careful strategizing over the past 3 years to get to where we are. But for any president to be here on the threshold of destiny, as I like to call it, to really take Guyana to where it's been trying to get for many, many years. We are actually one of the oldest federations in the world. We're 117 years old. And to be at this point in history, that's a personal satisfaction for me. Guyana is a massive country geographically. We're 83,000 square miles. And while we're part of the Caribbean Football Union, in comparison to the other territories, we're a massive country. And despite the fact that we have a small population, it is a fairly spread out population. So trying to develop football across the spread of this country is really challenging. Oftentimes we struggle to get the message across this cricket country that the Guyana Golden Jaguars start with Guyana first. So those guys are going out there not to represent the Guyana Football Federation, not to represent the Golden Jaguars, but first and foremost to represent the Republic of Guyana. We have to be conscious about where we are. Football don't have access to the best venues. Many of our players come from the more challenging communities. I think that's very consistent with other parts of South America. So the goal is really to expand and grow the player population, and we have to do that by introducing the kids to the game as early as we can.
It's obvious. This is the cradle of development.
So what we're doing now, we are going into some of the most challenging communities across the country, and we're running off these grassroots programs every weekend. If I can ask you to take it easy on me, all right? Can I ask you guys to take it easy on me? No? If we can hone in our developmental skills and profession to the extent that we can produce a homegrown player that is signing and walking on in the presence of 40,000 screaming fans, I will be rocking in my chair with a smile so broad.
Okay, that's it. Continue, play on, play on.
We will qualify for the Gold Cup when the final whistle is blown, and that will open up an array of opportunities, not just for those players that will go there and give 100%, but for the players that are going to be channeled through the pipeline over the next couple of years. We will shift the focus of many of the top teams around the world to Guyana. Coaches, scouts will start looking into Guyana. It will bring a renewed interest in corporate Guyana. It will boost our local development program. And I believe that the transformational effect that qualification will have on this country will transcend the game over the next couple of years. I believe that we're in a really good place. I'm very optimistic, and I have all the faith that I can have in those 11 guys that will take that fateful march out on the field, and they will bring it home for us.
One of the most celebrated homegrown Guyanese footballers is Gregory Jackie Chan Richardson, who's been involved with the national team for more than a decade.
My name is Greg Richardson, Guyana national forward. Nickname is Jackie Chan. Used to watch a lot of Kung Fu movies. I like watching Jackie Chan do stunts and act foolish. So I named myself Jackie Chan. I was born in Fifa Football Club, playing at a club we used to dominate football in Guyana since I was a little boy. Then I leave and go to play in Trinidad, then I go to America in the MLS. So now I'm back home and just playing with Futukan Cross in the Elite League. This is the club I play for now. You see, we face a lot of difficult challenges in Guyana, especially for being a footballer. Sometimes we gotta go and work, then come and train, and a lot of hours you be on your feet. Every country is not about money. We play because we love the game. We play a lot. We play in the streets because we love the game. We come and join the club because we love the game. It's all about love in this country, about football. It's not about money.
Guyana almost reached the Gold Cup earlier this decade.
We missed it a big time. That was the best time of our life. And it hurt us a lot because we missed it. The time everybody cried because, you know, it was a chance. And everybody saying it was the best team they've ever seen come out of the country. One of the best team in the Caribbean. It will do a lot of great stuff for football in Guyana. At least, you know, everybody will get to know us now. Knowing that Guyana have players just like other Caribbean country. That's why we gotta push for get a Gold Cup.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
My name is Brian Joseph. I'm the Youth Development Officer of the Guyana Football Federation. My playing career was way back in 1994, 96. It was difficult in those days. It was really difficult for national teams. Preparations was nowhere near what national team preparation should have been. We really didn't have the coaching education to go with what national team required. We were kind of the whipping boys of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Yes.
And now we have a structure where there's national tournaments that is being run by the federation, and it is happening at the club level, it's happening at the academy level, it's happening at the regional level. And 2 years ago was the very first time that we were able to win an international youth tournament. That was a big boost for our country. So going forward, this group we see as the potential group that is going to take Guyana to the next level.
Got a quick drink? Got a quick drink whenever you're in a job?
Whenever we talk about what opportunities they have now as compared to the opportunities that we had back then they begin to see the picture that, you know, hey, football could actually take us somewhere. In my days, those opportunities never came by. Every coach, every football administrator that I've seen the Guyanese players have always said, hey, we have the potential. But the potential without the structure is nothing. Now we have the potential, now we also have the structure. So the results are going to come. And I believe that we can compete with the very best in this region.
1, 2, 3!
Ian Greenwood, Technical Director of the Guyana Football Federation. The key word that has always been mentioned about Guyana is potential. We are the biggest country in the CFU. We've got tremendous potential both locally and internationally, but we've never been able to harness that. And I think that's really attracted me to the role, the opportunity to harness all this potential that we've got and develop frameworks so we can really push forward. The key things in the first 12 months was to set up youth development programs from grassroots levels, from academy levels and the national team levels, and a big focus on coach education. So we have 13 centres spread across the entire country. Each of these centres have academy programs for boys and girls at the key age groups, so under 11, under 13, 15 and 17. And then from these centres, we then pull out the top players for the male and female national teams at each age group. When you go into the football communities and you go on the street, there's great passion for football. I think what they've been starved on for so long is success or a clear vision, which they haven't had before.
One of the remotest, most passionate football regions in the country is the Rupununi, deep in the country's interior and 500 kilometers away from the coastal plain. It's surrounded by the Amazonian rainforest.
Ken Grant, originally from the Rupununi. This is my hometown, St. Ignatius Village, an indigenous community, and ex-Rupununi Football Association president. Rupununi is approximately 500 kilometers away from the capital city, Georgetown. We are at the border of Brazil, and it's just a river to cross, and we are literally in Brazil. So one of the largest region in Guyana, geographically, and also very semi-populated in areas where villages are very far apart. Rupununi actually is predominantly Amerindian descent. We also have a presence of the Afro-Guyanese and the Indo-Guyanese. The Brazilian cultural influence is evident. Our passion for football, as a matter of fact, is a demonstration of the influence the Brazilians have in the Rupununi. Most importantly, when it comes to football, all the issues and the problems surrounding politics and religion and ethnicity vanishes for that special football occasion. Only big boys over there, mix it. Junior players and senior players. Every village you go, every evening, as a matter of fact, every recreational activity, football will be the feature activity. Football is used to bond families because most of the time you find a family that is involved in football, where the children are involved in football, where the husband and wife are playing for the same clubs. You find when you have to go out to other regions, visit other clubs, other villages, you find families, a group of families traveling to these locations to play football. It's equivalent to a religion to us.
Now a look at some of the week's standout stories in numbers. France were crowned world champions at the first FIFA E-Nations tournament in London. Celtic reached the final of the Scottish FA Cup to keep hopes alive of a third successive domestic treble. Ajax became the first club to score more than 100 goals in a European top flight this season. And Perth Glory won their first Australian A-League premiership at the 14th time of asking. Still to come, we meet the men who will contest the biggest match in the history of Guyanese football. Thank you. As the Golden Jaguars prepared for the biggest match in their history, the onus fell on their coach, a man born in England, but with firm roots in the Caribbean.
Michael Johnson, my role is the head coach of the Guyanese Football Federation. I remember there was an opportunity what came up saying that Guyana was looking for a new manager. Didn't know a lot about the country, had to really start to research and ask friends and certain family about, Guyana, and obviously got to familiarise myself with the cultural aspect of the country, the enormity of the country. I had an understanding of Caribbean culture coming into the role. I get it because obviously my time playing with Jamaica. In terms of similarities, they're very, very close. I'm very clear about how I work. I'm not a ranter and raver, and I'm very, very comfortable within my own skin.
Johnson is working with a squad that's tapped into the Guyanese diaspora on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean.
I think majority of those players are players that probably think that they won't get a chance to play for England or America, so they go towards their the parents or the grandparents' heritage. But it's really interesting when everybody comes together. I think one of the challenges, and it's a nice challenge to have, is embedding the culture and making everybody understand that players from Canada, America, England, and obviously the local-based players. And it's how you utilise all the resources available to try and amalgamate all these cultures what are flying in from different parts of the world.
My name is Emery Welshman. I'm a forward for the Guyana Golden Jaguars. My mom and dad are both born and raised in Guyana, both from Georgetown. My oldest brother is born in Guyana as well, so we have a very strong Guyanese roots. I was raised basically as a Guyanese Canadian. It's night and day with how different the country is, you know. A developing country compared to a developed country is, you'll see the differences in everything. There's a lot of poverty in this country, but still a lot of beauty behind it as well. It's one of the most beautiful countries personally that I've been to, and I've seen a lot of places with traveling through football and stuff. So coming to Guyana always feels like my home away from home. Just so many different personalities that make this team what it is. You know, 4 years ago when I first came to my first camp, there might have been only 1 or 2 foreign-based players, which is what they brand us, being not born in Guyana. So there would be a table of just maybe me and another player, and the rest of the Guyanese guys at one table. You know, that's just kind of how it was. But now, today, everyone's one. It's one Guyana, one team, one goal. So I mean, seeing the turnaround in that short time is a blessing for me, and for the guys who have been here even longer, have seen very dark times in Guyanese football. To see it now must be a dream for them.
From the other side of the Atlantic, representing Guyana has brought together 2 relatives who'd never met before.
I'm Stephen Duke McKenna. I'm a 10 or a winger.
Neil Dan's centre midfielder. We're from a second generation of Guyanese in Liverpool. A lot of Guyanese emigrated to Liverpool years ago, and a lot of our families will never have been to Guyana.
Our grandparents, our brothers, so it makes us like cousins.
Never met before we came to Guyana.
At 36, Stans is one of the most experienced members of the squad and has witnessed firsthand the rapid progress of recent years.
The last 5 years has really seen a rapid rise in the standard of football, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, the way the federation's being run. So it's changed massively, and long may that continue, because I think it really is going in the right direction, and hopefully the next generation will benefit from all of this.
Yeah, man. I always knew about Guyana because my granddad and my dad used to tell me, but he never really spoke much about it, so I was always curious. You have to get used to stuff like, obviously the climate, so the pitches are completely different, but it was where my roots were from, and I was just like, wow, this is where my family's from.
The makeup of the squad it's quite varied. We've got players who are playing in the conference, we've got players playing in North America, we've got players in the league. It's a mixed bunch, but the one thing we've got is unity and togetherness.
I honestly believe this is the output, this is legacy now, this is purpose.
Meet Stephen and Sam Cox. We're like little kids when we're around each other, just constant banter, but we all have different ways of, like I say, we're all from different places and we all have different ways of bonding, but we all bond pretty well and we all bring our characters into one, and we've got a real good blend amongst the group. Although, like I say, we're not born in Guyana, you can still see that everyone has the same pride when they wear the shirt, and it's one that every time we go out there, we all cherish.
The newest addition to the squad is a former England youth international, currently playing in the Championship for Reading.
Callum Harriott, left midfield, play for Guyana. My mum's side's all Guyanese, all the family, you know, got grandmas on the Saturday, and they're really happy that I'm out here and representing. I spoke to the gaffer a few times about what they're trying to achieve here and where they're possibly going moving forward. So I made a decision to obviously, you know, join the Golden Jaguars. Been here for 5 days now, and I'm settling in well. This game's a massive game for the country, for everyone really. But the main thing is, I think, is approaching the game in the right way, and hopefully get a win.
If it looks like we're going to get played round, get them back in position. Yeah, so we're nice and compact. It's the first time ever that the men's team would have qualified for a major tournament. That's wartime, that's game time, it's breached. Security's been breached. As soon as they look like they're starting to enter that midfield line, we've got to get players in place. We potentially could go through with a draw, but You know, we don't want to leave it in the hands of somebody else and be waiting, biting fingernails. We'd rather just go and win the game. We'll go through this together. I'm telling you, this will be a day that you will look back on for the rest of your life and you will remember. Do not waste this day. All right? Let's get ready. We've got one of the players who's been locally based, and we've got him to speak about all his journey, about how hard it's been, the challenges he's had, life growing up in Guyana, trying to be a footballer compared to life in England. But what it was really good, it crystallised the why. A lot of players needed to know why do I really need to play for Guyana? It's about reconnecting. And I think that's so important that they reconnect first before taking the field. You know, and we have to try and get to a place where they understand the importance of putting on that jersey.
By winning, you would hope it would change a lot in Guyana football. It would give kids just an opportunity to dream a little bit bigger than maybe they dreamed the nights before, and just opens so much opportunities, so many possibilities for further generations, that this could be really the beginning of Guyanese football dominating in a CONCACAF setup and for sure in a Caribbean setup. And personally, it will be the biggest game of my career to date, just with everything on the line, all the pressure behind it, and just what it can mean for so many people.
For every footballer, you want to play at tournaments like this. The Gold Cup's a major tournament, and to have the opportunity to be able to get there when we know we're 90 minutes away, it's something that you keep pinching yourself, thinking, can we do this? Can we do this? But we're 90 minutes away, and we could potentially create history for this country. And like I say, we've our grandparents, everyone that's helped us on our journey through our football careers. It's sort of a thank you to them as well. It's not just for ourselves, it's for everyone, for every coach, for every teacher that has ever put something into us. But they get to see us out there and know that they had a big influence on that.
For some of these players to play on the international scene and showcase their talent for a number of clubs who will be there watching the tournament in itself. Imagine some of those youngsters coming back and saying, I've been offered a contract in MLS or a club in Europe. Then what does that do for other youngsters who think there's no way out in Ghana?
Guyana's opponents, Belize, made the early running, but the home side began to take control of the match. And after being fouled in the area, Neil Dans had the chance to give the Golden Jaguars the lead.
Imagine now these youngsters who can start to believe, both boys and girls, that there's opportunities because now the program's at a level where it's on the world stage. The bigger nations come, there's obviously a bigger attendance because they want to see the better players. Marketing opportunities. All of a sudden now we're visible in America, Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean.
The pendulum of the game against Belize began to swing against Guyana. On the half hour, Belize were level, equalising direct from a free kick. Guyana had to regroup. Johnson had to refocus his players, who had a chance to retake the lead when they were awarded a second penalty. But this time, Dan's kick was saved.
Guyana just being spoken about as a footballing country, you know, in the context of Jamaicas and the Mexicos and the Canadas. To be rubbing shoulders with those would just be amazing for every Guyanese, no matter where you are, to be proud and say, that's my country.
And as the first half drew to a close, Callum Harriott set up Emery Welshman to score the goal, which would seal qualification.
I have a tremendous faith, a really rock-solid faith, and this place has crystallised it for me. I don't believe in coincidences, and I really believe that, you know, this is written in the stars. It's time, and I think prayers have been answered. I really, really do. I think there's such a spiritual connection. that I can see what's about to happen, what's about to unfold, and it's all good.
Next week in our end of series special, we take a look back on the last 4 years of FIFA football. The stories, the places and the people who've helped us capture the beautiful game around the world. See you then.